Cars in the ditch, roads completely iced over as freezing rain and snow hits mid-Missouri. Good evening, I'm Brittany Pieper.
And I'm Natalie Granda. This icy storm is wreaking havoc. We'll go immediately to Kenton with what you can expect for your weather this weekend.
A little bit, but as you know, the roads have been slick today, and KOMU 8's Nick Thompson braved these icy conditions to bring you the latest. Now we're going to head over to him live. Nick, how's it going?
Well, Kenton, I'm here by Highway 63, of course, one of the main highways through mid-Missouri, but even this one, traffic has been crawling along since this afternoon. Now, the weather conditions have kind of sapped the fun out of Friday night so far and have had icy implications for travelers on the road. Boone County and Columbia Public Safety received more than 450 calls earlier this evening, and they had to call in additional staff just to handle all those calls, and all those calls came just between 5 and 7 tonight. We've also received calls from all over mid-Missouri from schools that canceled basketball games tonight as well as other weekend activities. And I've observed the roads tonight and seen a lot of tow trucks out there, more than a dozen tow trucks out tending to the vehicles that have ended up on the side of the road this afternoon and this evening. Now, earlier this evening, I was out and there was less traffic on the roads. People have seemed to heed the warnings to kind of stay out, stay at home tonight once they got home from work. But you want to make sure to stay tuned for that full weathercast because it seems the storm could get a little bit worse overnight and bring some more precipitation. Of course, not much precipitation right now, but there could be some more after midnight. That'll be coming up on the weather forecast. And also a reminder that you can go to our website, KOMU.com, for all of the latest closings and weather information. Reporting live in Columbia, Nick Thompson, KOMU 8 News.
Thanks, Nick. The people who show you how to sign up for federal health insurance marketplace no longer have to be licensed in Missouri. That's because a federal judge granted a preliminary injunction against the state law. KOMU 8's Rachel Kars joins us in the studio to tell us how this change affects consumers.
A lawsuit filed in November claimed the Missouri law requiring navigators to be licensed through the state conflicted with the Affordable Care Act. Now, the new ruling means these site navigators have one less step to take before helping people sign up. Malarski also told me consumers should check to make sure their navigator is federally certified before handing over any information. For a link to the list of navigators, visit our website at KOMU.com.
Governor Nixon has set a special election this August to fill 3 empty Missouri House seats. The most recent seat opened when Republican Jason Smith resigned in June after winning a seat in Congress. The 2 other House seats opened up in December after Democrat Steve Webb resigned facing criminal charges and Republican Dennis Fowler joined the Board of Probation and Parole. Nixon did not call for a vote to replace Senator Ryan McKenna, who he appointed in December as the state labor director.
It will be a while before an autopsy is performed on a woman's body found behind a gas station. The Holt Summit Police Department identified the body as 44-year-old Jessica Marafidis from Kansas City. Police originally believed Marafidis was from Chilhowie in rural Johnson County. Sergeant Haycock said the coroner can't perform an autopsy yet due to the body's current condition. An Exxon employee found the body Thursday morning.
MU Athletics Director Mike Alden apologized for the mishandling of the rape investigation of Missouri swimmer Sasha Manoukian. Last night, Alden said he expects Missouri to learn from her death and use it to strengthen its student mental health services. These are Alden's first public comments on the alleged rape of Manoukian, who then later killed herself in June of 2011. The Missouri curators voted Wednesday to approve an independent legal investigation into how MU handled the situation.
The Osage Beach 911 dispatch center is now running smoothly after it crashed Wednesday. Osage Beach police say a maintenance crew was already at the center when the system crashed. The Camden County Sheriff loaned an emergency dispatch bus to the department while the crew fixed the system 8 hours later. The department does not believe any calls were missed. While it was unexpected, department leaders say they are fortunate for the emergency experience.
We just went through really a minor event. But it made us practice, or helped us to practice for when one of those other, Joplin type situations could happen.
Asante says the police department has an emergency fund to pay for an upgrade and replace the full battery backup system.
A popular antique store in Columbia could close its doors in March. The Marketplace Antique Store on Business Loop 70 will have a meeting on February 11th to decide whether or not the store closes. Ron Sturchy will meet with the Columbia Board of Adjustment. He wants a variance that would allow the business to leave the building so a plumbing company could move in. Sturchy says he gave his antique dealers 3 months' notice of this possible closure. Rumors are swirling that a piece of land in California purchased on behalf of St. Louis Rams owner Stan Kroenke could be for a new stadium. Last year, the St. Louis Convention and Visitors Commission refused to approve $700 million to upgrade the Edward Jones Dorm. Kroenke won't say if the 60 acres in Inglewood, California is for a stadium, but that hasn't stopped speculation and commentary in the Gateway City.
And if he were to build his own stadium in Los Angeles, the potential increase in franchise value would be much greater, much more affluent corporate dollar there. So again, if I'm a St. Louis Rams fan, I'd be a little bit concerned about this development.
The Rams organization released a statement this afternoon that says, as real estate developers, the Kroenke organizations are involved in numerous real estate deals across the country and North America. While we can confirm media reports that we recently purchased land in Inglewood as a private company, we don't typically discuss our plans for commercial or residential investments.
Still without work, staying unemployed hurts your chances of getting a job in the future. How the president plans to get you back on the job.
Not quite water under the bridge. New claims about Chris Christie's bridge scandal add another layer to the story. In Washington today, there's still no agreement in Congress to restore long-term unemployment benefits, but President Obama made a move to help those workers get a better shot at a job. NBC's Steve Handelsman reports from Washington. Republican leaders are working to strike a deal with the president on immigration reform. The George Washington Bridge scandal in New Jersey took a turn today as former bridge official says Chris Christie actually did know about the lane closures when they happened. The official claimed today the governor knew about the lane shutdowns as the gridlock took place. He says it was an order from Christie to close the lanes, producing enormous traffic jams. Christie still says aides set up the snarl without his knowledge.
The Keystone pipeline that would carry oil from Canada to Texas may be one step closer to getting approved today. The State Department released its long-anticipated environmental impact statement saying it will have, quote, no major climate impact. The pipeline would carry oil from Alberta, Canada, across the Great Plains to Gulf Coast refineries. Environmentalists' biggest concern is with the pipeline greenhouse gas emissions. The president rejected the pipeline once and says he will only approve it if he feels the climate won't be negatively impacted.
President Obama took a virtual road trip across the country today to discuss political issues with Americans. He spoke via computer with people from California to Texas to Maine. Americans asked the president questions about issues like immigration reform and the economy. President Obama discussed economic plans and expanding tax credits. He also says he hopes immigration reform can be accomplished this year.
There are water distribution sites opening back up in West Virginia. Bottled water was being handed out today at fire department buildings across the area. The need for bottled water has returned as concerns linger about the safety of the water supply. It all stems from a leak at the chemical company in Charleston a couple of weeks ago. Since then, there have been reports of formaldehyde and other chemicals in the water.
Airport security has always got an eye on the sky and in the terminal, maybe on your cell phone. How one airport is spying on its passengers long after they leave the terminal.
Fighting for peace, why world leaders can't seem to reach an agreement on Syria.
Thanks, Kenton. Airport security is at an all-time high, but one airport is potentially overstepping its boundaries. We'll have the latest leak from Edward Snowden coming up. Once again, Edward Snowden has his hands on top a secret document. This document shows Canada's electronic spy tracked the phones of thousands of passengers. Canadian authorities on cybersecurity say the operation is almost certainly illegal. Under Canadian law, it's illegal to target anyone in Canada without a warrant. The data allegedly identified travelers' phones but did not monitor calls or emails. Secretary of State John Kerry arrived in Munich tonight to begin the first round of peace talks for Syria. The talks with his Russian counterpart ended with little progress toward ending Syria's civil war. Later, they met with UN Secretary Ban Ki-moon. They're all attending the Munich Security Conference. The conference runs until February 2nd. And southwest England is bracing for the worst flooding it's seen in more than 20 years. Authorities there say even more severe weather is expected. Heavy rain and high tides will be of concern to residents on the coast. The area has already seen 25 square miles swamped by the floods. The Army is currently on standby to help villages cut off by the floods. Many of the villages have been stranded since Christmas. Next in sports, scores and highlights from the high school games that were not postponed because of the icy conditions.
NASA released video today of the longest ever recorded partial solar eclipse. Last night, the moon moved between NASA's observatory and the sun. NASA released video of this partial solar eclipse, which lasted 2.5 hours. According to NASA, it was the longest ever recording of such an occurrence. NASA said this type of lunar transit takes place 2 to 3 times a year.
And looking at our weather overnight tonight, we're going to see a low temperature of 28 degrees with freezing rain, especially after midnight, and really ramping up here around 3 to 5 a.m. here. That's going to last until our Saturday morning. We're only going to see winds about 10 to 15 miles an hour. But again, we're going to see icy road conditions here tomorrow morning. But then we're finally going to dry out here for our Sunday and Monday. Temperature still a little cool there. And then we have a chance for more snow coming up Monday night into Tuesday. Then cold temperatures midweek. Then more snow at the end of the week. A lot to talk about here this week weather-wise.
All right. So be careful. Stay with us on KOMU.com and throughout the weekend. Have a good night.